heresy, brother! We must purge the enemies of mankind!
Die, heretics! Death to all traitors! Bring fire upon us and we shall return it!
Welcome to the universe of Warhammer 40k, where the only thing that is constant is war and everyone hates everyone due to extreme racism. That's not a joke, by the way, and I have very little time to explain, so let's get to it.
The time is now, brothers!
So it's the year 40,000, space travel has been invented, and turns out, we're not alone. Unfortunately, they're not the most friendly of aliens, and they're also not too keen on sharing what they have.
You try to steal my titans? Steal my loot? I'll rip your guts right out your throat!
So what's the obvious solution?
Violence.
Said violence in the form of a 2,000-pound super soldier fighting for the will of the Emperor.
For the Emperor!
So with all that being said,
Let's get to purging.
okay, maybe I should explain a bit more. You are a Space Marine.
Space Marine!
A genetically modified 8-foot-tall super soldier that is built for war. Your mission?
To exterminate any and all enemies of mankind.
Whether that be demons, aliens, plague monsters, weebs, or even other humans deemed to be heretics, it's a Space Marine's job to purge it.
Your desecration ends this day! Yum!
Now, there is a lot more to this universe than what I just said, like all the different planets, the different Space Marine chapters, and the Emperor, which is basically this universe's Jesus. Yeah, I don't get it either. But all you need to know is what happens on the planet Garia. This planet, which is the planet the game takes place on. The specific Space Marine you play is a Stern Guard veteran that was assigned to this lovely tech priest.
I have demons to purge.
And she has assigned to you an extremely high priority mission. Hey, I heard you had an important mission for me. Yeah, I need you to go to the planet Garia. We're picking up some weird readings there. What do you mean by weird? Oh, you know, a little weird, a little silly. What? Yeah, just a little goofy, and we want you to check it out. Isn't that the planet that's infested with demons and other indescribable horrors? Yeah. And you want me to go there? Yeah. And we have no idea where the signal is. Yeah. Alright. And that's it. That's all you need to know. For those curious, yes, there is more to the story, but the story is such a small part of the game, and the gameplay is such a huge part of the game, that the story doesn't really matter. However, I'm still gonna explain the story, because no matter how small or simple it is, it's still a story.
God dang it, why didn't I read the story? I have no idea where it is.
Keep in mind though that the story was explained by a little text box in the top left side of the screen, which I didn't pay attention to half the time because of... So after being assigned your mission, you are then sent to the planet via spacecraft, which apparently was not a good idea, seeing how the ship crashed, killing your fellow brothers that were assigned to you.
Dang, imagine being built for war and then ended up dying because you didn't know how to drive a spaceship.
Fortunately, you survived the crash, but unfortunately, you are now stuck in a frozen wasteland filled with all sorts of bad guys with nothing to defend yourself except for your chainsaw, which is exactly what it sounds like. Oh my god! And as you turn said bad guys into meat sludge, you realize that you're not the only one looking for that goofy signal.
Greetings, servant of the false throne. I see you found your way to me at last. You moved the leaden feet of your corpse, Emperor. Already I have gained the location of...
This handsome fellow, who is basically a space wizard, is also trying to reach that signal. Only you have a chainsword and he has an army. You find out where the signal is and try to beat the Space Wizard to it, but he ends up getting to it first, allowing him to absorb its power. I don't exactly remember what the object was or why it powered him up, but I do know it was in the vault the size of a small city. Whee! Whee! And finally, in Chapter 3, the Space Wizard decides to invade your mothership using his newfound power and the ship's hyperdrive to open up a portal to hell. Literally. And obviously, you ain't gonna let that slide. And that's it. That's the story. No character development, no plot twist, just chaos and blood. Which is just so awesome. There's no heartfelt moment or dramatic slow-mo cutscene. It's just several hours of a Space Marine grinding enemies into ground beef. Now jumping out of the story and into the gameplay, let's talk about what you're up against.
Come, show me what passes for fury among your misbegotten kind!
In the beautiful world of Graya, there are plenty of monsters to eviscerate and murder, but every single one of them belongs to one major faction. The Forces of Chaos.
Abandon reason, know only war! I will burn this planet to a cinder! Skulls for the Skull Throne! Ah!
Technically, there's a second faction made up of the indigenous monsters of the planet, but I don't count them because there's only 2 enemies that belong in it. Anyways, the first group of enemies you encounter are heretics.
Die, heretics!
Which, in general, are basically anyone with a different opinion. But these specific heretics are people who have turned away from the almighty emperor and instead decided to worship one of the 4 major demons of chaos. And who are the 4 major demons? Not important. Like I said, focusing on the gameplay. So the heretics are basically the cannon fodder of all the enemies. They come in a couple different varieties and can sometimes do a scary amount of damage. Oh, this is not working well, this is not working well. I made a mistake, I made a mistake, I made it. Ah! But most of the time, they just exist to get brutally murdered by a single bolt round. I just casually committed 2 war crimes, okay. Unlike their much cooler ally, the Chaos Marine.
Scream for me!
Now these guys are you. But bad. They are a lot tougher than your regular heretic, but they are still able to be killed with not too many rounds. Unlike their even cooler ally, the Chaos Terminator.
Can you weaklings not fight any better?
Now get this. These guys are like you, but bad. And big. They are even tougher than Space Marines, super slow, but have much more firepower. So I don't recommend fighting one of these guys head on. And finally, we have champions.
Even gods may die!
All you need to know about these guys is that I hate them. With a passion. You'd think because they use a sword they would be easier to deal with, but you'd be wrong. They match you in almost every single way. They have the same movement speed, have a ton of health, and hit like a semi-truck. Oh, and they have the ability to revive themselves. No, leave me alone! Die! No, don't get back up. No, stop! Stop getting back up! No! Thank you. Why did you get back up? They are the scariest things on that planet besides you. Although, there were some times where they were more terrifying than usual. No! Die! And that's about it for the heretics, but we're not done yet. The next group of enemies you encounter are demons. Not the big 4 that the heretics worship, but the lesser demons that fall under the big 4, which are still very much terrifying. Oh, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. No! Now, the lesser demons in this game come from these 2 major demons, who have teamed up to make what the game calls an unholy alliance, which does not even make sense because those 2 demons don't even like each other, but in fact have a major rivalry. Anyways, there's a lot of demons to get through, so I'ma speedrun this. Nurglings, blue horrors, and pink horrors are horde enemies that do big damage when there's a lot of them. Flamers are ranged enemies that can pack a punch on their attacks. Lesser plague toads and regular plague toads are tanky little pieces of shit. And then there are these weird flying things that I forgot the name of. Oh my god, why are there so many of them? Leave me alone! And all of these demons and heretics combined creates a perfect battleground in what I like to call purge rooms.
Rip and tear until it is done.
A purge room is a place where a small army of demons, enough ammo and weapons to take out a country, and you are all stuffed in a very tiny area, which you can't leave until you eliminate every last living thing. And lastly, to round it all off, each group of enemies have their own boss. A Lord of Change for the pink-blue looking demons, the Great Unclean One for the plague demons, and the Space Wizard for the heretics. All of which you fight multiple times. But trust me when I say it does not get any easier. Or maybe it does and I just suck at the game. Probably the second thing. Yeah, what the? Ow. Oh, there's the Great Unclean One. Hold up, let me just... Nope, that didn't work. I'm out. Boss battle? What's change? I've never heard of it. The only change I've ever heard of are nickels and quarters. So now that we know who, what, when, where, and why, let's talk about how. As in how you
Purge the heretics!
Like I said earlier, you start out with a chainsword, a pretty simple melee weapon to use that is perfect for executing enemies. Just don't try to saw anything in half that's bigger than a plague toad. No, that didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. Nope. No, leave me alone, please! Please! No! God, that did not work. That chainsaw did not work at all. On top of being able to turn any enemy into meat sludge, you also have the movement speed of Usain Bolt that just got hit by 20 pounds of adrenaline, which is perfect for getting up close to use melee or trying to outrun a champion. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, bro! Bro, leave me alone! He's back up! But unlike the very limited melee options, there are plenty of ranged options to choose from. Starting with the name of the game, the Boltgun. The most versatile and reliable weapon in the entire game. Now, lore-wise, it's a pretty scary gun, because in modern times, what is considered a large round for a gun is about the size of a finger, but in Warhammer, the standard round for a Space Marine is the size of a soda can. That also explodes on impact. That, combined with your breakneck movement speed, makes you one scary chunk of metal. So scary, in fact, that the heretics surrender to you on sight. That may not be what they're doing because they start to shoot right after. But it's what I would do if I saw that coming at me.
Death to the enemy!
So the bolt gun is pretty powerful lore-wise, but is it powerful game-wise?
Yes.
It may be the starting weapon, but I was still using this thing all the way into the endgame. It's so reliable and can work in any situation. Its fire rate is fast, so crowds of enemies are no problem. It does good damage, so you don't have to worry about tougher enemies, and it reloads quickly, so you never get caught off guard. And besides all of that, it's just fun. There's not really a downside to it, which just means you're always gonna have an easy time purging. Purge! Now on the other side of the spectrum, we have the shotgun, aka the worst gun in the game. Now I get it, every game that has a gun also needs to have a shotgun. It's just common sense. But the shotgun in Boltgun is just garbage. God, you don't die! Everything a shotgun is supposed to be good at, like close range encounters, a quick burst of damage, this gun just could not do. Its damage is awful, the rate of fire is trash, and the time it takes to reload this thing is so long. I was so disappointed that what arguably could have been the most fun gun to use turned out to be completely useless.
It offends me.
The speed of your character would have been perfect if the shotgun had a lot higher rate of fire or DPS. Just to get in there, do a lot of damage, and then get out. But since that's not the case, it's constantly outclassed by all other weapons, like the plasma gun, Volkite Cavalier, and the heavy bolter. The heavy bolter being my favorite. It's exactly like the bolt gun, except the bolt gun goes, while the heavy bolter goes. The sound doesn't hit as hard as the bolt gun, but man is it really fun to use. Heavy bolter! What? Oh my. Anyways, my next favorite gun is the Vengeance Launcher. Hey, isn't that a grenade launcher? Vengeance Launcher, which shoots out a small projectile that explodes after a short amount of time. Yeah, like a grenade. Vengeance Launcher. And finally, we have the Melt Gun and the Grav Cannon. Both incredibly powerful, both incredibly expensive to shoot.
It costs $400,000 to fire this weapon for 12 seconds.
But if you manage to find enough ammo for these guns, any heretic and or demon in your way will immediately be completely and utterly destroyed. Boop! No, wrong one. Boop! And that's it for all the guns. But that's not the only thing in your arsenal. You also have grenades and secrets. Grenades being self-explanatory, but the secrets are where it gets interesting. Secrets can be found all over, usually in a weird corner or down a long hallway, and what they do depends on which secret you get. The effects can range from getting a slight upgrade to one of your weapons to getting a grenade that summons a vortex, killing anything in its reach. My favorite secret being infinite ammo, for obvious reasons. But that vortex grenade is probably the only reason as to how I was able to kill the bosses. Where is he? Boom! Holy crap! But with 7 good weapons, 1 bad weapon, 2 types of grenades, 9 different types of secrets, 1 chainsword, and the anger of a Call of Duty player on a losing streak,
Stab them into the dirt!
those demons don't stand a chance. So if you're a fan of Warhammer or Doom, I recommend you get the game. So if you're a fan of Doom or Warhammer, I recommend you get the game. It's like $20 on Steam and less during sales, and absolutely worth the money. There is nothing I can point to and say that's bad, except for the champions and the plague toads. But besides that, it's a fun time. Okay, I did struggle on this one puzzle room in the beginning of the game. Maybe it was. Hold up. Is this the right one? Where am I supposed to go, dude? No, I died! What? What the? Is that giant red sigil where I'm supposed to go? Nope. Sends me there. I don't get it. Okay. This is getting annoying. What? Huh? Hey guys, one last final message from me. You probably won't see another video of mine for a while since I have like a bunch of schoolwork and a lot of regular work to do. But I will be streaming here and there, probably on the weekends or on Friday. Usually I stream around 6 and I'm streaming Helldivers, so that's fun. Yeah, and join the stream and I will see you next time.